Hello and welcome to Apropos. This is the show about closure where we have now a guest who shares his screen. Um, Today on the panel, we have Mia,
Hi.
Ray,
Hello.
I'm Eric, and our guest today is Christian.
Hello.
Yay!
Right, that was a good Eric. Hello. Hello. It's got
Yeah,
like
yeah.
seven O's at the end.
I try to have at least five when I say hello.
I felt the pressure. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. It's good to be back. It's been a while since we've had a guest. Last time we did just our own setups. Um, Want to welcome everyone who's in the chat. Please share your questions if you're there live. Otherwise, you're probably watching later and you can just watch the replay of the chat. Um, right. So let's begin.
Mhm.
Let's start with the good one. Can we see your closure setup?
Of course. So I'm going to share my screen and desktop one. I think you're seeing it now.
Yes.
Yes. So welcome to my Emacs. I know it's Ray's favorite editor, right? um,
I
so
prefer
I,
Vim, but
I know that all of your guests say that it's just standard Emacs stuff, and it's it kind of is. But this has been my setup for over 10 years, I think. Even have the same color scheme that I had
Cool.
10 years ago, and I mean it's Emacs, but it's we have a pretty I say we because I collaborate on the configuration with my colleagues, and especially
Mm.
my colleague and friend Magnar Sveen, who basically wrote the setup. He also wrote like half the Emacs ecosystem packages.
So you share an Emacs setup?
Yes.
That's
So
cool.
we shared like I started 12 years ago or something, and then he got really bitten and worked on it a lot, and then it
When you say
became
bitten, you mean like very excited by it.
yeah, very excited. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
very excited.
Okay.
Wrote a lot of packages and yeah, did a lot of Emacs work. And then so it became basically his setup, but we still shared it. And then we jointly took a new job 2 years ago, and at that time we kind of rebooted the setup. So it's essentially still the same, but we got rid of some stuff we didn't use, and just went over everything and make sure that we
Hmm.
like yeah know what we have basically.
Is there a reason that you share an Emacs setup? Because it's kind of unusual, right? A lot of people say it's like a very personal thing.
Yeah, but I mean, we work together. We do a lot of pair programming. We want to be effective on each other's computers,
I see.
so it makes a lot of sense to have the same setup.
Hmm.
And now we've grown the team, and we have 6 developers, and we actually have all of them on the same setup.
That's cool. I mean, and so is everyone kind of contributing to it and like making decisions about how it should work?
Yeah, I'd say it's a like a joint decision making thing. Or yeah, we have there's room for like personalized setup, but we try to agree on like the important stuff so that we can be effective on
Yeah.
each other's computers. But a couple of them have like non-sanctioned color schemes and stuff like that. But
whoa.
yeah, but
Yeah,
like
that was
the
some
main
yellow already.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean the important stuff is like key bindings.
Hmm.
If you customize that stuff too much, you become unable to work together on the same
For
computer, which
sure.
is very impractical.
I've
So are you
What's
experienced
all
that.
parenthesis you're using here?
What? Excuse
I
me.
was going to ask if you were all in an office, like physically working on each other's computers, or if this was a virtual pair setup using Tmux or something.
We're mostly in the same office. Like we live relatively close to the same city. So we're in the office every week, but not every day. And we also do a lot of remote pairing, but we use Tuple. So it's like it
Mhm.
used to be a Mac app, but I guess they're now on all platforms. It's like a dedicated pairing with video chat thing.
Hmm,
Yeah,
okay.
where you can just remotely control the entire computer.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so I've actually heard this, you're the second person I've heard who talked about this, about how at a company, they felt like it was important that they standardize on a configuration, an editor, a configuration, like everything was supposed to be standardized so that um, they would be able to share machines and stuff. So do you find that it works?
Yeah. I don't believe in standardizing. So
No.
this is completely optional. So we're not forcing anyone to do anything they don't want to,
Okay.
but we suggested we tried and people tried it and liked it. So that I think that's an important distinction because I think forcing people to use things they don't want to use isn't necessarily a good idea.
Sure, sure. I mean, I don't think he would say that you should force people to use things they don't want to use, but that you should optimize for everyone collaborating on a single thing
Yeah.
and deciding together how they're going to work, as opposed to just let everybody do it differently on their own machines and then
Yeah.
not have that collaboration. I
Yeah,
think was
Yeah.
the,
I would be against that perspective, frankly, because we have like people using Emacs, Vim, Cursive, VS Code, a whole bunch of different things, and I would find it quite annoying to have to change my editor to get a job.
Yeah. Of
well,
course.
I'm
and
joking. I say
it's
I'm
a
not
very
even joking.
divisive idea, you know. It's very
Yeah.
divisive. I don't know if I agree with it, but I kind of see the logic in it. Um, I've
The
never
way that
experienced it, to be honest.
the way that I think about it is that I feel lucky that I'm on a team where six people were able to agree on how this
Sure.
works,
Hmm.
and it removes a bunch of problems. Like there's never problems with different editors doing different indentation of code. I mean, there are cross editor setups to fix those kinds of things, but when everyone's just using the exact same setup, a lot of those problems just go away on their own.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, so I don't know what I'd do if people had different. I mean, I've been in other projects where people use different tools and that was fine as well, but this is better. uh, well, if you're lucky enough to have this situation, that's pretty good.
Did you find that the setup has evolved as you've added more people to the team? Are there things that were maybe idiosyncratic between the two of you that you had to change as you added more people?
Mm, it's definitely idiosyncratic. We have like the two of us, the made the config has pretty strong opinions about how things should be and should not be, and uh, we haven't changed a lot of those, but the new people have certainly brought in new stuff that I hadn't thought of to do. So they keep adding like minor features every here and there. So it's definitely been like rewarding to get new perspectives in.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things that I don't get that often is like uh, new input into my own setup, you know. I'll see someone using a package in Emacs occasionally that I'm curious, like, how did you do that? What is that? But it's not often enough. And I think I would see that, like, if everyone's coming with their own ideas about how to edit code, basically, um, you could have a really rich, like, learning experience from that.
Yeah. I think we're pretty like aligned on the core stuff. So it's been more like useful auxiliary tools. Like we have this key binding, like that someone added. I can go here and click. I can't tell you the key binding. I just know what to do with my
Yeah,
fingers.
right. It doesn't matter
Uh,
what key binding it is.
but it's now says remote was killed. This is a joke from a guy on the team. But what happened now is that it copied a link to GitHub to this line in this revision, which is surprisingly useful. I had never
Oh,
thought to add that, but that's very useful.
wait, so it's like it looks at the current Git commit
Yeah.
and goes on GitHub and the line you're on in the file, and it goes on GitHub and it makes a link for that line in that
Yeah, it
commit.
doesn't even
Oh,
need to
that's
go on
interesting.
GitHub. It just
Yeah,
know
right. It
just needs to know the remote
concats
and
it
then
together. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Which is yeah, it's very useful. And the same thing can be used like if you're in Magit, you can go on to a specific commit and hit the same string of keys, and then you have a link to that commit, which is also
Mm.
quite useful.
Hmm.
So yeah, so that's some cool stuff. You want to see some closure stuff as well?
Sure. Yeah.
I don't see it to have a okay. So we use Cider with jack in to get REPLs going, and then we have this. Okay, so we're connected. We have this thing down here, which is our super colon. So if I hit
Mm.
super colon on my keyboard, I can do the things in the comment block here
Oh.
from the mini
No
buffer.
way. That's cool. I mean, is that better than wait. Does that work from anywhere in the file?
Yeah. So when you're in
Oh,
this
I
file,
want
it doesn't
that.
really matter. But if I'm, let's say I'm here, I can still
Uh-huh.
do it, and it finds it.
Wait,
So
how
we,
does it find it there?
it's
It's in a different
just
file.
yeah, it's some heuristic.
Show us super colon.
Super cool. You want to see the function?
Yeah,
Okay.
show us what it does.
How can I find it? I didn't write it. Let's see if I can find it. Super colon is here.
S-
Run. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I think
I see.
it actively goes to the dev namespace.
It
Yes. Find
and
dev's namespace and comment forms. And so the top comment form in the file that has this comment next to it, it will just take the contents and present it in
I
a small
see.
menu.
I see. So it has to have that little comment in it.
Yep.
That's how it found it in a different file. I
Yeah.
see.
So and then it knows to go into the dev
See,
namespace, which we always have anyway. But
mm,
it's really useful because you have this custom little extension of the editor that costs you literally nothing.
That's nice.
yeah, that's
Huh.
really cool. See, what I like that, and I think I'm gonna do something like that. But another thing is that I might have a file that's like 300 lines long, and at the bottom there's a comment,
Mm-hmm.
and then I go and edit a function, and then I want to run I've compile it. Now I want to run something from the comment, but it's all the way at the bottom, so I have to scroll up and scroll back down and scroll up and down all the time
Mm-hmm.
just to put my cursor on it to run it. But to be able to uh, get a menu listing of all the lines in the comment block from wherever I'm at in the file, that would be cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
can't you like split the screen in Emacs? I mean, that would be the most obvious thing to do. And just
Yeah,
have.
and then and then you also want your REPL on the side so you can see the output. Like you start splitting it
It ends up looking like a Fibonacci situation.
Yeah.
like a
Mondrian.
Nautilus
Yeah.
shell.
I'm, I mean, I usually work on two screens like this. If I'm on my big monitor, I have three splits,
Uh-huh.
and that's
Mm.
typically what I do. But occasionally, I will be if I'm working on tests, I can be like this. Like I can be in the tests, and then I can go to the implementation over here,
Hmm.
and then I'll occasionally put the cider output down here.
I see.
But that's if I'm doing that, I'm probably lost because I'm printing shit and I need to see what goes in the
Yeah.
in the output. So yeah. But usually this is my preferred setup, to have the test on the left side and the implementation on the right side. And that's another cool little thing we have that I think is custom to our setup. So if I split the screen, I can hit Super J, and then it goes. It's called significant other mode. So it finds another file that's probably related to this one, which could be the test, or it could be the portfolio setup for a UI file. So you can just go between them like this.
Oh, that's
The
cool.
cool thing is that if I create a new file, like I create ones called Apropos, like so, then I can hit Control U Super J, and then we'll create a test file for me in
Nice.
the correct place under the test directory.
That's cool. This is the most customized Emacs that we've had on the show so far. In terms of not just like setting it up, but actually having your own commands, this is cool.
Yeah, cool. It's so most of the credit here goes to Magnar, who wrote a lot of this stuff, but I really enjoy working with it. And I'll show you another thing we have. So we use Coucha to run our tests, and we have a Coucha mode in Emacs. So I can just, if I evaluate the entire namespace, it'll run the tests, and we'll get this little printout in a mini buffer here. And then if there's something wrong, like I make this test fail, it's very slow for some reason. Yeah. So you get the diff inside of Emacs. And now it's just running the tests for the current namespace that I'm in, which I think is a nice focus feature.
Yeah.
And it's all happening. Like I can go and just evaluate it, but being able to run it like this and have the printout is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think a lot of people probably just import packages and use packages, but the fact that you guys, are comfortable writing packages probably unlocks quite a lot of capabilities,
Yeah, sure. I mean, we use a lot of standard packages as well.
Sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. Any other cool stuff you want to show us in your Emacs?
I'm thinking. I mean, we have this is built
the
into
question I was
Emacs.
asking you, Christian, was about the par edit mode. You don't seem to have par edit. You seem to be using something else.
No, it's par edit. It's the parentheses down here.
All right.
So we have a lot of stuff that goes into the mini buffer, so we've been kind of aggressive at making them short, so they don't. Yeah. So the two parentheses here are par edit mode. Right, so I use par edit all the time.
And so what's the thing in the square brackets next to your mode line?
Yeah, so that's a perspective where you can have workspaces inside Emacs.
Oh, so, workspaces, I see.
Yeah, it's called perspective.el. It filters down the list of buffers. I can go and find the file in the project. It filters down the files to this specific Git project and so on. And then I can hit a key command to change perspective and go into my other repos.
I see.
So if I wanted to check out the replicant code, I can go to replicant, and now you can see that I'm in this perspective, and the buffer list is only the files in this project.
Oh, nice.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah. So you can tell right now this list is kind of short, means that it's not too long since I had to quit my Emacs. Usually this will accumulate to almost everything on my disk.
Yeah, right. Over time, yeah, because you never get rid of them, right?
No, I don't quit it unless something has gone horribly wrong.
Then do you have like a perspective on your perspectives at that point?
No, this just keeps getting endlessly long. But
Yeah.
usually you'll enter the mode to switch, and then you get this vertical selection instead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I see.
And
So
does it
that's
have an LRU algorithm or something? Yeah.
yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is recency sorted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But usually what I'll do is just type a few letters for where I want to go, and then you go there. Yeah. That's very useful. What else? I mean, it's just Emacs, man.
Yeah.
When you're doing sharing with this tuple, do you it was something that I'm sort of like nervous about doing. So do you actually control other people's computers? Is
Yeah.
that something that happens? Because that
Yeah, yeah.
seems like wild to me.
Yeah, I mean, the other person is there watching you, so and they can see what you're
Why
doing.
would you
But
do it though?
mostly to write in their Emacs.
I mean, from what I've heard, I've never, well, I haven't done that in a long time, let me say. But like the nice thing is if you need to, you can switch to the browser and click around and like so
Yeah.
you can do real pairing where the other person can just take over and um
Yeah, you can do all those things, but I mean, in practice, mostly we just type in Emacs, but it allows us to switch who's typing, so you don't get to just sit and watch someone type code for 2 hours. You can switch
Okay,
back and
so you
forth.
tend to do it like half an hour or an hour each, and then
No, no, no. We tend to. It depends on what we're working on, but like
mm,
the preferred rhythm is to like person A writes a test, person B implements the test and writes a new test. So this
right,
way
okay.
you get this nice bouncing back and forth where you're like,
Mm,
um, it's almost like a small game. Like I write a test to challenge
mm,
you,
mm.
and then you challenge me by writing the most ridiculous, or not necessarily, but see what you can get away with in the implementation, right? And
The
then you write a
smallest
test
possible
for the
implementation.
next hole
Yeah,
in
okay.
your in your thing. And this way you can iterate like really fast. You spend just a
Yeah.
minute on the test, minute on the implementation, and you go back and forth. And yeah, I think that gives a really cool rhythm for cooperating on a solution.
Mm. Yeah,
that's
it's a
really
really
nice.
nice idea. Yeah.
And you both have to be paying attention the whole time
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
because
There's no chance to slack off, or
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you have to be engaged. But it depends on what kind of work you're doing. Like other times we'll be like investigating weird stuff where
Mm-hmm.
it's more reasoning about things, and
Mm,
I don't know,
mm,
using the REPL to evaluate stuff, dig things out of the database, look at contents on queues and stuff like that. And then
mm.
typically the person with the physical computer in front of them will do the steering, and the other person will be like chipping in ideas and so on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
That's really good. Yeah.
depends
That's
on, yeah.
awesome.
So the other thing, Christian, that I mean, um, I'm a super fan of your projects like Portfolio and Replicant. So it would be really cool, to me if you could like tell us a little bit about how you approach these projects and then, what kind of things that you're doing with them.
And if you want to show us around as you talk about it, that's a unique thing that you can do. You've got a chance to do that right now. So
Yeah, sure.
uh,
So I guess you want to see not this, but what it looks like here.
sure.
Um, I have to start my server with my little S colon. So yeah, I thought maybe we can have a look at this. Is just a demo application that I wrote for my Recluder talk, but demonstrates a lot of the things. Yeah, the app's not really the point. So let's have a look at portfolio, which is I mean, I used dev cards for a long time. Have you guys used dev cards? Like
Mm-hmm.
Bruce
A little
Hallman's
bit.
project?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like I just love that idea when it first came out. The idea to just take a UI component, isolate it, and just figure out all the visual variations in one place, not having to think about how this fits into your application, or how do I have to navigate through the app to trigger some, like in this application. Let me show you something. So if I put too many cards here, you get this error. Like if you were working on that small box, it would be really annoying to have to do this all day
Mm-hmm.
to hammer out the details, right? And Bruce found a perfect solution for that with dev cards. And then dev cards was very simple, and then he didn't really work on it for a while. And then the JS community came up with Storybook, which is like taking the idea and running with it. And people were starting to use Storybook in ClojureScript, and I tried to set it up, and I was angry. It was a terrible experience. You had to run Webpack, and you had to run some ClojureScript tooling on top of that, and it was just terrible. I hated it. So I wanted like something that looked like Storybook, but behaved like dev cards. Basically,
Mm-hmm.
just get a REPL going and write some hiccup. That's what I wanted to do, and so that's what I did. So this is then obviously highly inspired by Storybook. So on the side here, you have what is called scenes. So a scene is just some UI you want to set up. The basic examples here are just individual components. Like this is a card title, and here is a card. So these are like the building blocks of the UI and all the visual variations that they have. They can have tags on them. Yeah, tags come in different colors. You can kind of like look at all. Here's an icon, all the minor variations, and then you have like useful stuff like you're seeing here. There's a split screen, right, with different themes. So you can just simultaneously look at what it looks like with the different themes if you have that. Um, yeah. And so, yeah, for all the components, we have this stuff. And you can like zoom in. I don't really like, there are many like small tools here to do things. I don't tend to use them a lot, but I do sometimes use the split screen that you're seeing here.
Mm. To see
Um,
two different styles at the same time.
yeah. Or you could use it to see two different screen sizes if you wanted to.
I see.
So you could put this in mobile view, and then you'll see how it behaves in mobile view.
Okay.
And it does render inside an iframe. So this is actually rendered on a smaller window. So if your CSS is using media selectors, those would apply. Yeah. So
Mhm.
you're actually seeing the mobile behavior, which you can tell that I didn't put that much work in this app.
You put it on your
So
to-do list,
So
Christian.
this
Yeah.
is what happens when you go off script. Like,
are these defined in Hiccup somewhere?
um, yes. Okay, let's have a look at the setup here.
And I think if you could also, because I had to look up replicant to refresh myself, and I think if you want to explain a little bit of background for our viewers for what we're looking at exactly, because
Yeah.
it's very exciting.
Okay. Yeah, I'm getting there. Let me just quickly answer Eric's question first. You can start portfolio with some setup. Like the view that I showed you is not the default view. So I set it up
Mhm.
here. I want to have these two themes, and I want the default layout to be light theme, dark theme.
Got it.
So this is like a small DSL to build. You can nest window splits however you want.
Mm-hmm.
Probably don't really want more than two, unless you have a really big screen.
Get a Fibonacci thing going.
Yeah. Right. Yes. So yeah. So that's basically portfolio. It's there to help you flesh out the details of your UI, and then
But
so
like, I guess what I'm asking is where are those
oh,
components
where are the
defined? That's
components?
what,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I see. You're not asking about the setup. You're asking about
Right.
yeah,
Def scene.
yeah. Here's the one we're looking at. Yeah, it's a so its portfolio is written to work with like any number of rendering libraries. So you typically type here the name of your library and hope that it works. It supports like reagent, the most commonly used ones,
Right.
reagent, UIX. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them, and they
Uh-huh.
all have this def scene macro. And yeah, so this really is the only difference between the libraries. And so this is very inspired by how dev cards work. You define something with a name and some hiccup.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the simplest thing you can do. Um, let's see if you have, yeah, and you can do this. You can add like arguments list, and then it's this is essentially a function body, and this is only useful if you do this. So here I'm feeding in some parameters, which will be
Mm.
seeded as an atom, and the atom will be passed in here. And then if the atom ever changes, portfolio will re-render the scene. So this one actually demonstrates dynamic behavior. I can show you.
Sure.
So the toggle card expand. Um, so it says that if you click this button, it's going to toggle it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So portfolio has like built-in features for watching atoms if you use that. Yes.
And so
But
the idea is that you can set up, let me see if I understand, because I'm using dev cards a little bit as my basic understanding, and then looking at your UI. The idea is that you're able to set up some little scenarios that you can visually inspect to see, yes, this is still doing what I want it to do. But they even have like interactivity if you need them so that you can click
yes.
around and inspect them.
Yeah. Basically.
So
And
you can inspect that situation you talked about where you have a column that only allows at most two items in it, and
mhm.
what would happen if I added a third.
Right. So here's the column with error message. So here, uh, I've done something stupid. Okay, yeah, but yeah, you can isolate situations like that. And another example would be to take like what happens if this card like has a really long title.
Hmm.
Just add a bunch of stuff, and then you can see how it breaks, and yeah, so you can just generate a whole bunch of like variations of your UI and keep them all in one place. And you can even like if I go click on this one, you get all of them in one page. You can just scroll through.
Hmm.
So this gives you, I think of it like it's increasing your visual bandwidth. You can see more variation in one glance. Like the
Right.
alternative, if you don't have something like this, you'll typically go into your app and interact with it
Have
to
to click
force it
around.
into,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
to force. And then, I mean, if you have to log in and then open a modal, click next 2 times, it gets tedious quite quickly. Yeah. And so,
Are these collections like pre-made collections that you have, or are these things which
those are they're based on namespaces. So
right,
the
okay.
default behavior is that the cards that share a namespace will end up in a like a collection like this, and then you
Hmm.
have some toolings to give them custom names and custom icons and custom sorting and the stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to create a lot of them, so this is like the core idea. Like you have a simple component, you put some data into it, and you get to see what it looks like. And then, so Mia mentioned Replicant, which is another library that I make, which is you can use it like you'd use reagent almost, except it's in some ways it's just a lot. I'm afraid to say simple on a Clojure podcast, but let's say
Easy.
it's much more no. I think it's harder, but it's more
Uh-huh.
limited in its capacity
Okay.
because you can only pass it data and it will render for you. It does not have there's no component local state.
I
You
see.
can't put any atoms into it. You can't really do anything with it. You just send it hiccup and it will render. And then if you send it hiccup again, it will try to effectively update whatever has been rendered from before.
Now, it is a React wrapper.
No.
No.
It's
Oh,
a
okay.
pure Clojure library
I
written from
see.
scratch.
I see.
So
So
it's got a DOM. It does the DOM, but it's not React.
yes, yeah. So
Okay.
it's a Clojure script implementation of the virtual DOM thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So is the algorithm a bit like React, or does it take a Vue.js perspective? You know, a lot of these libraries in the JavaScript world now are kind of like they're fighting over whether to do like virtual DOMs or real DOMs, like the browser do it, or you know, I'm sure you've had these seen these bun fights.
I've seen them, but I haven't like done a deep dive on them, so I'm not really an expert on them.
No, sure.
I think Replicant's implementation is most similar to React's idea. So it keeps you feed it hiccup, and it keeps that hiccup around for the next time you want to render something, and it basically compares and finds out where did something change.
Mm-hmm.
And then it tries to make intelligent decisions about how things changed.
Wait, so does it do first a diff on the data structure you gave it,
Yeah.
and then a diff against the virtual DOM?
No, the data
No?
structure is the virtual DOM.
Oh,
Right.
I
Okay. So you're
see.
not doing any like browser shit. You're just saying, okay, I'm just diffing the hiccup essentially.
Yeah, and then if the library finds a difference, it goes and updates the DOM, assuming that the DOM has the same structure. So if you go and mess
Yeah.
with the DOM in between, you're going to have a bad time. But
Yeah.
that's the case with all of these libraries. They all
Sure.
assume that the DOM will look like they made it.
Do you handle the stuff that React handles, like the cursor position and scroll position and stuff like that?
Yes and no. I mean, a lot of that stuff just kind of worked. So
So
there's
you know what I'm saying, right? Like if the cursor, if you have an input box and you're
Mhm.
typing and
Mhm.
then something re-renders inside the form and it
Mhm.
replaces that input box. Now, how do you get your cursor
Yeah, if you
where it was?
replace the input box, you don't get your cursor back.
I see.
Then your cursor is gone. So replicant, spent a lot of effort into trying to get replicant to recognize which things are the same, even if they move around, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the the art of the algorithm here to figure out if you had 5 children the last time and now you have 3,
Right.
what happened?
Did 2 get removed or like were 4 added and
Yes,
yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah, and for I think for most web UIs, the details of that doesn't really matter because
mhm.
the result on screen will be the same. But if you put a CSS transition on one of those nodes, it
Yeah.
suddenly matters a lot.
Right.
Because if you get it wrong, then suddenly the wrong thing will start spinning,
Yes.
and it will look janky. So I think replicant actually, and this is under communicated, I think, because most of the discussion around these libraries is very performance oriented, like which one can render the fastest. And all of them can render fast enough for most use cases. So I think it's really it's a shame that like that's all we're discussing, because there are a lot of details in how you do this as well to get right. And I think actually Replicant does a few of these things. We had some test cases when we hammered it out where Replicant nails it, I think, better than React does in some cases.
Really? Even if you give React the keys, right? There's a key field or a key attribute.
Yeah, you can give it keys. That will help. But that will also, at least I found in my implementation, if you give it keys, that also constrains it a little bit. Because every time you give it keys, it needs to kind of look for those keys up front. So it makes it, I mean, it makes it more deterministic, but it also makes it work a little bit harder in some cases.
Huh.
And also, I mean, putting keys on everything to a certain degree pushes the responsibility over to the user, because essentially then you'd have to key all the way down the tree.
You have to give everything in a I guess it only warns you if it's in a
it's only on one
array,
level, right?
Right.
Yeah. But also, if you want everything to work in a key manner, then you have to do this on every level, because you have the same problem at every level. Like if the top level goes from 2 to 3 nodes, if you want to be certain that
that's right,
yeah, then you have to put a key on it. Then you have to put a key on the children. So that doesn't really scale well. So I felt it was important to put a lot of work into making.
Well, so I'm curious, how does it work? How does it identify that this is the same node but different? Because if they're exactly the same, it kind of seems.
Show us.
You want to? I don't think you want to see this code.
No, let's see it. I want to see it now.
But I think just before you dive into that, Christian, I think maybe I know that you're curious about this, Eric, but maybe there are bigger fish to fry here. You know, we've kind of only got a certain amount of time with Christian, and I think we can do this kind of thing like outside, because I think we want to communicate some of the benefits of these tools more than some of the details.
Let's look at what we can do with them instead.
I hope that's not too,
I mean, the replicant code base has been tuned for performance.
Are you saying that it's ugly code because it's?
I'm going to show you just the top of the main namespace, and then we can leave it at that, right?
Well, and questions about like what tuning for performance does to your code is
here we go.
Valid.
It starts with beware. But I'll take Ray's lead, and let's look at what we can do with it instead, and we can talk details later. So what I wanted to, what I was aiming to do, like we have these components right here. So because of the way the replicant works, you have to express your entire UI as data, not just individual components. Everything just has to be hiccup, and you don't get to put any weird stuff in it. There's no functions, there's no atoms, there's just data everywhere. So that means that you could, just as trivially as you could produce single components like this, you can produce entire pages, right? So here's the entire app when it's essentially empty. And here it is when it's loading data from the server. This is one of those states which is very useful to be able to see, because usually you only see it for half a second.
Right.
But now I can stare at it until I'm done. And here it failed to load.
Oh, nice. Oh, this is great. This is great, because like, how do you simulate failed to load?
I mean, without commenting out stuff in your code and doing stupid stuff, right?
Yeah.
And you can just iterate on it, right? You can edit the code side by side with your browser and just get it right.
Yeah.
And then move it over into the production code.
And now, so now we're getting to a couple of cool things, because here's one task. Here's a bunch of tasks spread around. And Here is that error from before, that overflowing whip column that we talked about. It's here, right? And the way that this was created is interesting, I think. So let's find the overflowing. It's not here. It's in here. Overflowing whip column. So the first thing I want to do is to no, such a shame. Let's just so I have a JVM REPL going. I don't usually have a ClojurScript REPL going, and portfolio scenes have to be ClojurScript files. Boo. Let's just put it in the Clojure file. So I can show you this stuff. Oh, come on. Need to cheat quickly. Come on. There we go.
But it is cool that because you're using just data, just vectors mostly, you're able to run it in Clojure too.
Yeah. So most of the code here, all the UI code is in CLJC files. So I usually I write tests for them and run them on the JVM, and you can use them in the browser. And then later you can decide whether or not you want to render it from the server or render it on the client. Because Replicant can also render it to a string for you. So you don't need to make that decision up front.
Nice.
Yeah, ABC. Where is ABC? It's here. Oh, I just didn't. Sorry, this is very inelegant, but okay. Oh, namespace maps. I hate them. So, yeah, here's the data that goes in. This is just data from a database or whatever. And then if I call render, I get the hiccup. So this is what replicant is being served. And you can see that a bunch of these have like custom tag names. So this is just a way that replicant allows you to have kind of a component. But it's really just a way to compact a bunch of markup into a function that's being dispatched on this keyword. But what I wanted to show you is what happens when for the interactions. So this error happens when you drag a card over and the column can have no more cards on it, right? So here you see the drag start event. It is also data.
Interesting.
And this is replicant allows you to put whatever you want here, and then you have to give it a function that will make sense of it later. And so I wrote another library that you can use here for doing the action dispatch. So that is, it's called Nexus, and it's basically reframe for replicant. But you can do whatever you want. You don't have to use this library, but replicant has this idea that you should be able to put data in the event handler position, and then you can have a function bound at the top level that will deal with it when the event triggers. So when the event triggers, replicant will just pass this stuff to the function you registered, and then you can dispatch it however you want.
But
so
is
the cool thing about
like
that,
this actions a source in? It's like by default the core library is included, so it will just.
This one is defined in my code base. So the library doesn't define any actions at all. You have to define your own actions.
Oh, okay.
But the thing that's happening here then, I have this trigger event function. Let's take a look at what it does. So it picks up the hiccup, and it uses lookup, which is CSS selectors for hiccup. And then it finds the card. Let's see if we can find the card. The card is here. And then it takes the drag start event, and it just dispatches it. And that will give you a new state where data has been updated. So essentially this scene that we're watching is simulating dragging this card. It's not hard coding what it looks like after you drag it. It actually takes your UI picks out the drag start, simulates it without any like web
It,
driver or any of that
it's not actually
complicated stuff.
clicking the mouse or
No,
something.
no, no,
It's
no,
yeah,
no. It is just looking at data, right?
right.
And executing functions. And then after it does that, it finds another element and then it executes a drop action. And that drop is what will trigger this to appear.
Right. That's actually really cool.
Mm.
And I think like let's see if we have it's not here. I don't remember where it is, but these actions you can also have tests for them, right? Um,
Oh, because it's all data. You can just do a lookup
yeah, yeah,
on the hiccup and
yeah.
see if like the error message is there.
Yeah, you could execute it in a test and see if that um, like you could take a state, execute the action, take the new state and render it, and then you can check for the error message. Did it appear or not?
Mm-hmm.
And you're
Make sure you've only got 2 in the whip and you've still got 1 in the to do and stuff like that.
yeah. And I mean, I kind of showed you a lot of things really quick now. So, but the main point here is that this is just all it's just immutable data and
Yeah.
it's just functions, right? There's no simulation of anything here, but because everything is represented with data and it's just laid out clear, and all the implementation, like all the rendering, all the action dispatch, those are all pure functions, all of it. You know, the actions just receive state and some arguments, and it produce a new state or whatever they may do. And there are only very few things in this code base that is what is called, with Nexus, it's called an effect. And an effect is a side effecty thing. So these are the effects on the top here. So you can see it like prevent default. This is just calling the prevent default method on an event. And there's some drag and drop stuff. Delays, and this save action, which basically updates the store or the atom that contains the application state. And so apart from like this stuff, the entire rest of this code base is pure functions and data.
Nice.
That's very nice. I mean, it seems like the testing story is really strong.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you can synthetically, you're not like running it in a browser and making a thing click. You're synthetically running events. Um, is really nice. It makes it really easy to test that things.
Yeah, to be able to see exactly, you have a very clear idea of exactly what is being produced versus what you want.
I think you have an application, Christian, if I'm not wrong, where you can swap languages and test that aspect out as well.
You mean like internationalization?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't have that on this computer actually, but we did that as well.
That's cool.
Yeah, I don't have that to show right now, Ray. So
It doesn't matter. No,
yeah.
it's just showing the power of that option, really, though. Even if you don't have to demonstrate it, but
yeah,
you can take it in many different directions, is what I mean.
I like the idea. Tell me if this is what you did. So you're not just testing like, oh, if I have if it's set up for German, like there's some German text in there. You want it to where you're showing the UI in English and they click the German button and now it's all shown in German. Like
you could do that, yeah.
You take it one level further where you're testing the click handler basically.
Yeah, I mean, there's really two things you can do, because that's one way of like testing that as specific action. But another thing is that in the application that Ray is talking about, instead of a string here, you would have a placeholder instead with a keyword.
Some identifier.
Yeah.
For
the
that
keyword
text.
that says what text goes here.
Mhm.
So basically, that allows you to write your tests without being specific about which text content goes into UI. Or you could pipe it through the translation layer and get the text.
Right.
You get the option to choose. Should this text is the specific text important to this test or not? If it's not, you can just check that it uses the correct keyword. But if you want to check that as some string has been built the right way or whatever, then you might want to pipe it through the translation layer. But it's an option, right?
So there's nothing that can't be fixed by another level of indirection.
That's right. That's what I was just thinking.
Yeah, pretty much.
Replace everything with an identifier for the thing.
If you look like at these tests, like here's a state, and then I call this render function, and then I pick up an element, and here's the element. Here these are icons. It's just a keyword. I think it's very expressive, right? It's very high level.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think what's nice is that you can do the selectors, because obviously the stuff on the right is very big.
Yeah, it's very big. Yeah. And
you want to be able to just focus on the minimum set that you're interested in.
Yes, and this is actually an important point, because not only is this big, but it's also very flaky, because this structure is built to create some visual representation and will typically be one of the more fleeting aspects of your application. You will be doing lots of like jiggly stuff around here that doesn't really change the behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why tests like this that go and look for specific elements are better, because you can just make sure that the title appears, it has an icon, or there is a button that you can click,
Right.
but don't be too specific about it should look exactly this way.
Because every now and then, or very often probably, you're going to add a div around something just to give it a border radius or something, and now your whole structure is different.
Right? It's completely different.
But the selector might still work. Right.
Yeah, probably, because these selectors are like, this just finds a card element anywhere inside there. And you also avoid like stuff like there's a bunch of nils in here, and it's just an artifact of the implementation. You don't really want to spend a lot of energy cleaning it away, because it's unnecessary. And you don't want to have it in the tests. And in fact, Replicant has a really cool feature. Like I mentioned before, how it spends a lot of energy trying to recognize which elements are the same and not. One of the important things it does is to use what it calls significant nils. The replicant will actually use these nils as a hint that there used to be two things here. And that's one of the things that it can use to
find the location of things. Yeah. Oh.
And that spares you a lot of keying on elements.
Right.
So this lookup library is your own library, though, isn't it, Christian? Or part of
it is
suite of things. Yeah. So,
is it fast?
This is the thing that's really nice to me, is that this whole like what do you call it? This thing is like really taking Hiccup to the next level, because being able to do all this kind of walking and searching in Takeup without having to do post walks and all this kind of stuff, which is super bullshit. I mean, then being able to do it more declaratively is really nice.
Yeah.
To
Eric's question,
it
was written for testing. I'm not sure if it's fast enough for serious use.
Yeah. So is it just doing the naive thing of just walking and looking? Or it's not building an index or anything like that?
Yeah, it is, because it supports almost every CSS selector. So like the initial version of this library just did like a tree seek in the filter or something.
Wow.
Like really stupid implementation.
Yeah.
But to support I don't remember which one it was, but like to support, you can put CSS selectors like this that it says H2 has, like there were a bunch of stuff like this, and then you need to make back references and stuff. So it does build an index of something. It has an index.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's not like it's not the most naive implementation, but it's also not really written for blazing performance. It's like it was intended for testing.
The other thing that I think maybe is given the sort of time and all that kind of stuff, the other thing I was really keen on seeing you demonstrate, Christian, was the browser, the stuff that you do that can allow you to inspect things in a browser.
Yeah. Do you want to see more libraries that I wrote?
Of course. Yeah.
So, okay, let's move into the application here. Let me just do one thing. This one uses static data from the client. If I comment it out and use this one, it will stream data from the server instead, which is more fun. So this came from the server. And now over here, we have something called data specs. And that allows you to visualize the state you have on either the client or the JVM. So here you see the store. That's where I keep, that's the atom that keeps the application state. So if I click this button, you'll see that something happens here. So it has a transient state. It's a status open. That's a status for this column. Add the true. That's the marker that it uses to show you this form. If I cancel, it goes away, and you can click inside, navigate. These are the columns. So what you're looking at here is basically the domain data that's driving this UI. And we talked about the actions before and the Nexus library. So the Nexus library also comes with this pane for data specs. So these are all the actions being executed by the UI. So if I drag this over here, we can see, so here's the start drag move, set task status, prevent default, and drag move. That was that dragging operation.
So it's like a history of actions.
Yeah. And then if I drag another one, you get another set. And then if I drag a third one, we're going to trigger that error, right? So I drop it, and then you get, you can see here that it did a flash for 3 seconds, put this in the transient state. So if you go in here, you get lots of details about this action, how long it took to dispatch. Yeah, you could browse the entire state at the time when this action triggered. You can access pretty much anything you could want to know about this system. And also, if you go like, let's see, I can minimize that one.
I think this is an amazing debugging tool for your system.
It gives you a lot of insight into what's going on. And also, like this, since this state lives in an atom, you have this audit log. So here are all the changes that happen to the state over time. So as I was using this UI, this is all the stuff that happened.
Wow.
So when something doesn't appear in the UI or whatever, you've got a history to say, it's missing from there. Yeah, this action didn't fill this particular form in or something.
Yeah, so you can see it's like this one, actions flash. You can see that it unfolds to these actions: prevent default, delay, effects, save. Yeah. So yeah, and it's like to enable this, you do require data specs and data specs inspect. And then Nexus comes with an action log that you can install, and then it will install that for you as well. And that's all the setup you need, and it gives you this tool. So I think like, I guess kind of like the data-driven stuff is the common theme for all of these libraries. Like, what can you do if you really are serious about putting data at the center and writing pure functions around them? What can you achieve? And you can achieve a lot of cool things, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think this is really cool. We actually have a question. Does it make end-to-end tests obsolete?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm probably the wrong person to ask because I've never been bothered to set up like Selenium or WebDriver or any of that tooling. It's too much hassle in my experience. I've been on projects where it's been used, and I've just seen it rot and not
They
be
get super
maintained.
flaky. They get
Yeah,
super
yeah,
flaky.
yeah.
I mean,
So I mean, so for me, this has increased my ability to write tests for the UI.
right.
Yeah, and I would not like. I mean, maybe I would want to have one end-to-end test to just make sure that the bundle can load in the browser, but
Uh-huh.
that's about it.
But you don't have any, see, like the thing that I would think of for end-to-end test is like you put a click handler on something
Mhm.
in your way, right? Where you have like on click and then a piece of data. Um, are you sure that that actually works
No,
in the browser, right? I could see a little doubt there, right? That
yeah,
like,
I think so. I've had that problem in the past. Like that's a bit like the worst problems I've ever had is like because it doesn't create any errors. There are no alerts. There's no log messages. It's just nothing happens
mm-hmm,
because things aren't wired up.
mm-hmm,
But I think with the tools that I showed you here, so let's go back to the scenes here that was using this trigger event stuff. It's loading. Um, oh, sorry, it's in this one. So the portfolio setup is loading the action definitions that the app is using. So
yeah,
if they work here, they will work in the app. If they work in the tests,
mm,
they will work in the app.
okay,
So it is possible to make sure that those actually work, but that obviously requires you to test every event handler, which I typically do not do.
right. We have another question. It's maybe a follow-up to what the Yo-Yo Brokers test. This is from Eric Assam. He says, "How do you test that the prevent default actually did what it was supposed to?"
Why would I? You mean like the action?
Yeah, that
Okay,
that
I'll answer it a little bit more seriously. Sorry, Eddie. um,
like so just to be like help the audience, like prevent default, there's like a default action that happens when you click some things.
yeah,
And like for instance, if you click a link, it's going to change your page, right? But
yep,
sometimes you want a link that you want to make it do something else. And so before you do that something else, you do prevent default so that it doesn't change the page.
yes, and
Go ahead.
yeah, and so this is a little bit a small piece of indirection to save you from having to put a function into your click handler. That's basically what it's doing. It's calling this prevent default method for you, and the way you test this is basically by loading up the browser and triggering some event that uses it, and you observe that it works. You're never going to change this. You'll write it, test it once, and that'll be it. And besides, you know, these are the kinds of things that will underpin a lot of the stuff in your UI. So if it stops working, you'll notice. And I mean, it may sound a little bit light-handed, but we apply the same strategy to our backends. We have some like gnarly uh, process imperative stuff like picking messages from a queue and stuff like that. And we typically don't have a lot of tests for them, but they do underpin everything the system does. So you will know whether or not they work. And it's typically code that we write once and then you hammer on it until it works and you never touch it again.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that's my approach to stuff like that.
I have to drop. So thank you so much. This was very, very cool. And we'll
Yep.
see
Sorry for
everyone
dragging out.
next time. Oh no, that
Yeah.
was wonderful. I stayed on later than I should have because I wanted to see. So
Okay. Cool.
I will see
Thanks.
everyone later.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mia.
Thanks,
Bye.
Mia.
And we probably should wrap up. We're running a little long.
Yeah.
Is there
Yeah.
anything else you want to share with us before we wrap up?
I think we've been through a lot.
Can
Yeah,
people find these projects online on GitHub?
yeah,
Yeah.
they're on
Okay.
GitHub. I think I would recommend going to replicant.fun.
Oh,
That's a website I built for Replicant. That's a good entry point to a lot of this stuff. If you go on videos, um, there, this is the conference talk that, yeah, goes over the stuff we did now a little bit more well prepared and a lot faster. But these videos are tutorial style videos where I build things from the ground up using the tools that we just talked
awesome.
about. So that would be perhaps be a good place to start. Yeah.
Great. Perfect.
Yeah, here's data specs and Nexus and all those. Yeah, portfolio even. Yeah. So this is a
Um,
like a good entry point.
cool. Can you give us another guest that we should have on the show?
Oh, of course. You should have my friend and colleague Magnar Sveen and have him talk about all the amazing Emacs stuff he did. I took credit for a lot of his work today. I didn't mean to do, but yeah, a lot of the things I show you is from his brain. And he also has an insane text adventure game built in Clojure and on Datomic that he has worked on for 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so yeah, he has a lot of cool things to say. Obviously, it wasn't built in Clojure for 25 years, but it's been built in Clojure for over 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's like a dwarf
Nice, nice.
fortress kind of thing.
yeah,
It's like a
yeah, yeah.
passion project.
Yes, yes, yes. He works at it
Awesome.
all the time. Yeah,
We'll have to ask him to show us what that looks like.
yeah. And then you can have a first on here, which is the same exact Emacs setup twice.
Maybe you'll have some more cool keystrokes to show us.
Yeah,
Awesome. Thank
yeah.
you so much, Christian. This was really cool. I'm gonna start playing with Replicant because I've been using Reagent for a long time.
Mhm.
I like how it works, but this might be like the next level. This might be the next
Yeah,
step in it.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, I
It
used
certainly pushes
Reframe for the longest
you.
time, and I really liked Reframe. I thought it was a great abstraction, but this again seems to be just the next level above, you know.
I mean, the only thing I would say is like you don't get access to the React ecosystem.
Yeah,
If you want to like pull in some third-party library, some components from someone else, something like that.
I,
Um,
it's partly true, but let me just say that like if you go here, I wrote a bunch of tutorials for
uh-huh.
how to do various stuff. And there is a tutorial here for wrapping using a JavaScript library. This shows you how to use Mapbox with Replicant.
Oh, cool.
And this strategy you can use with literally any library that's out there.
So like
I
embed a
probably,
little React inside of your.
yeah, I was going to say that you probably don't want to do that, but many of the like, I think many of the most interesting libraries that you would plop into a React app usually have a library or like a part of the thing that isn't the React bit. Like the core of it could
Right,
Yeah,
usually
right.
be used
Yeah.
outside.
yeah,
And
yeah.
when they have that, you can just use the strategies in this guide and you can
Awesome.
wrap it in Replicant.
Mm.
And I mean, like
I
I
guess
wrote,
a lot of the JavaScript libraries want to be used by, non-React libraries like
Mm,
Vue.js and stuff like this these days, and Next.js and
yeah,
all these other things. So you're kind of benefiting from this splintering in the the
yeah, yeah,
JavaScript
definitely.
world. Yeah.
And I would also add that we're also very purposefully opting out of certain parts of the React ecosystem, like stuff like React Router, which I just think is a terrible abstraction.
yeah.
It's not possible to do with Replicant, and that is by design.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
and that's kind of what led me down this path to beginning with. That like I wanted away from that kind of way to like sauce everything together. I don't like working like that. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, this has been really great, Christian. Thanks very
This
much.
is really cool.
Thanks. Yeah, yeah, I enjoyed it as well. Fun.
So just wrap it up. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you want to subscribe, do so at the YouTube. Then you'll get notified of when the next episode is coming out. You can also join our Discord. That's where we do a lot of the chats, talk to each other, do some announcements of shows ahead of time. Anything else, Ray? Did I forget anything?
No, I think that's all good. Yeah,
All
fantastic.
right. Thank you to New Bank for sponsoring us.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
got to
yeah.
say that now. And wow, see you next time.
Thanks a lot, Christian.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye.
Stopped it now. Okay.
I I didn't realize that I was stopping things, or I was
No,
still
no, he
sharing.
stopped
Yeah.
it, not you.
No,